Grade mathematicians, I'm here to help you review for your test. I have your test right here that I'm looking at, and we're going to kind of go through what you need to know for your test. So I want to tell you, first of all, there's 12 questions. Our test today is on equations. We're focusing on addition and subtraction. There could possibly be a few multiplication things in here, but most of what we're looking at is adding and subtracting. There's a few keywords that I kind of want to go over to make sure that you have on your paper. The first one is that when I say something is lower than something else, that it's a subtraction. So for instance, I have a problem on a test, and if I said on this problem that if my sister went and took a test, she's an EMT, and she went and took a test to qualify for her EMT, and that her test had a lower score than somebody else's, or her score is lower than somebody else's, we would know that that would be a subtraction problem. So you might want to write lower than is subtraction. Another word we had troubles with sometimes is maximum. If I have a maximum of something, I'm going to spend less than or equal to that. So if I have $50 and I can spend a maximum of $50, I can spend less than $50, I can spend exactly $50, but I can't spend more than $50. So anytime we see the word maximum, it's going to let us know that that is a less than or equal to sign. Make sure that you're writing those down on your paper. The next things that I wrote on here is read slowly and think. We're going to have a lot of equations, and you're going to have to just read those equations and think about what they're saying. I can't really do a whole lot of practice on equations except to tell you, look at your interactive notebook, go back through that sheet that we did the other day that went through all the different keywords you're looking at. Look at the examples on there. Those will help you. Another thing that you might want to think about is the word sum. We know sum means addition, and that's going to equal like A plus B. So if I have an equation, I'm saying the sum of something is a number, and that I have one of the other numbers, I'm going to have to write it like this. I'm going to have to write my total, my sum on one side, and then that's going to equal the numbers on the other side. You might want to write that down as well. The last thing is that I'm talking about is on equations. The first thing you want to do is find your total. When you're looking at a word problem and it's talking about equations, figure out what your total is going to be, because your total is never, ever going to be X. When you're looking at equations, your total is going to be a number. X is going to be somewhere on the other side of the equal sign. So find what your total is, write your equals with your total, and then look at your other numbers and decide what is your operation. Are you adding? Are you subtracting? Are you dividing? Once you know what your operation is, then you can start plugging those numbers in along with your variable on the opposite side of the sign from your total. Looking at your questions, you have 12 questions here. Your first one is a simple equation kind of question. Your second one is also an equation question. Your third one is giving you the equation, and you have to find the word problem that goes with it. That's one that you guys had a little trouble with last time. What I really want to see you doing is looking there and going, okay, look at A, write down what you think that equation would be. On B, write down what you think that equation would be. That's something that a lot of you did not do last time, and it's something that a lot of you had problems with. Remember, I also told you, look for your keywords. If you see the word added, write a plus above that. If you see a word 5 times as many, write a multiplication sign above that. Write those things in there so that when you're looking for your word that goes with your equation, you know which one you're doing. We also have one of your questions is coming straight from your Math Antics review sheet that we did on what is algebra. So remember, I told you to make sure you're reviewing that. That's a really good place to go back to review for your test. You're going to have to write an equation straight up. It's not a multiple choice one. You're going to write the equation in. And then you've got an equation with angles. You've got another equation. You have an equation that you're finding the word problem to. Are you seeing a theme here? Lots of equations, because that's what we've been working with all week. You have a couple inequalities on here because we're still working with inequalities. And while I don't have any straight up algebra problems for you to solve like we've been working on this week, I do have inequality problems for you to solve, and they are solved exactly the same way that your equations problems are solved. So if you're substituting in a number for the variable, you're going to replace that variable with the number and then work out the problem. If you're trying to find what the variable is, you're going to either be subtracting, multiplying, dividing to isolate that variable, just like we did with our algebra problems. So you've got 2 inequalities with number lines. Both of them, you're going to have to figure out what your variable is to find your answer. And then your very last problem is kind of like a pre-algebra problem. So it's not a straight up algebra problem. It's got pictures in there, but it is an algebra type of problem. All I can tell you for this test, write these things down because I'm telling you this stuff is on your test. Study your equations sheet that we put in your interactive notebook. Study your what is algebra sheet and just really stop and think. Do your strategies. Write your signs above your words so that you take your time. Have a good day. Make sure you do well on your test. Take your time to think about it. I think you guys are going to be great.